What's good with y'all niggas? 2K shit, ma. 2K shit, bruh. 2K shit, bruh. Getting straight into it.
I played NBA 2K26 early, and today I'm gonna be giving you my 100% honest opinions on everything I liked and everything I didn't. For example, I love that you could actually speed boost out of different dribble moves. Last year, it was basically if you didn't have Steve Francis, you were cooked. This year, there's definitely more variety. One thing I didn't like is the ball switching hands without me even touching my controller. This made comboing up super annoying, but don't worry, I found out 2K did add a way around this that I will explain later in this video. We're also going to go in depth on all the changes to the dunk meter, rhythm shooting, dribbling, post scoring, speed boosting, bump steals, and all the brand new features introduced for the very first time in NBA 2K26. Starting with my favorite new addition, quick shot in NBA 2K steals, and all the brand new features introduced for the very first time in NBA 2K26. Starting with my favorite new addition, quick shot timing. I'm calling it right now, this is going to be the most overpowered addition to shooting we have ever seen. If y'all aren't familiar with quick shot timing, basically it's a feature where if you hold LT before you shoot on a catch and shoot shot, you will drastically increase the speed of your jump shot. Here's a side-by-side comparison so you can see for yourself just how fast quick shot timing makes your jump shot. Now for the My Team heads watching this video, it might be a little hard to learn 5 different players' jump shots and then also learn 5 different quick shot timing. But for those of y'all that play My Player, aka the Park, Rec, Pro-Am, whatever, I highly suggest you master this feature. Think about how many games you play with your My Player. Hundreds to thousands of games using one singular jump shot. So if you take the time to learn your quick shot timing like it's your actual jump shot, you will quite literally never be contested every time you take a catch and shoot shot. I can't stress how important it is that you take this new feature seriously, especially if you're a spot up build like a lockdown or a popper. And if you're worried that it looks too hard to time, after 30 minutes of labbing, I was able to green consistently with Brandon Podziemski on Hall of Fame difficulty. Trust me, you will be fine. Now enough yapping about that, let's cover a feature that I really don't like, which is the brand new lob system. More specifically, we're talking about what I think is an unnecessary change, where whenever you throw or try and catch a lob, the player on the receiving end of the lob will get a random button prompt that they still have the time to complete the alley-oop. If you're a little bit confused, in previous years, all you had to do was throw the lob and you would always click X or square at the appropriate time and you would finish the lob. Easy enough, right? Well, this year it is no longer gonna be always X or square to finish your lobs. Instead, it could be any of the 4 buttons on your controller. So on PlayStation, X, circle, triangle, and square. On Xbox, A, X, Y, and B. And the reason I don't like this change is I just feel like it's pointless. It was intended to quote-unquote increase the skill gap in NBA 2K26, but I don't know about y'all, I just don't think that's a skill. I'm not gonna call someone trash for missing a random button prompt, and I'm also not gonna give someone props for hitting a random button prompt. Usually whenever you think of upping the skill, you want to be able to give someone props whenever they can do something that other people can't do. But I'm not gonna dab up my boy because he clicked circle instead of square. I just think it is an unnecessary change. I will say that at lower difficulties, it was always X and square depending on what console you're on, and then whenever I raised the difficulty to Hall of Fame, that's when I got the random button prompt. So that might mean that it might not be in every single game mode, but whatever game mode it's in, I am gonna find it annoying. The next thing we need to cover are the changes to the dunk meter. I'm gonna say this off rip, the dunk meter is better on NBA 2K26 than on NBA 2K25, but only for certain builds. And what I mean by that is dunk metering on taller builds felt like it was the easiest thing in the world. If you take a look at these clips of me trying to dunk with Giannis, you'll notice that I'm absolutely manhandling everybody and then finishing the dunk with a huge green window dunk meter. And this is on Hall of Fame difficulty, the highest difficulty we could put it on. And I want y'all to really focus on the size of the green window in the dunk meter. For taller builds, it is ridiculously huge, almost making it hard to miss contact dunks on taller builds. But if we look at the flip side and try to get contact dunks with smaller builds, like Anthony Edwards and John Morant, it was still very possible, don't get me wrong, but it was a lot harder and the green windows were visibly smaller. I'm sure in some of the clips the green window looks kind of the same as the Giannis ones, but in some of those clips the difficulty was set to pro just so I could see the changes in the green window for the dunk meter. And what I noticed is that whenever I go to Hall of Fame on a 6'4" or 6'3" build like Ja Morant, Anthony Edwards, getting contact dunks became increasingly more difficult. And that makes sense because 2K did say it is a dynamic dunk meter, which means the dunk meter changes as you go through your animation. So you'll notice in a lot of these clips, I will start the dunk meter and my dunk meter will be very huge, and then a taller player will get in the paint that I'm trying to poster, and my dunk meter literally goes to 0, where it's either not greenable at all, or it's basically 1 out of 100 times you might hit the very small pure green window, which was a little concerning for me because, as y'all know, I love making like a 6'3" or 6'4" two-way all-around guard build that has high driving dunk, high defense, high shooting, and high playmaking. But man, after seeing this in quick play, it really does have me second guessing making a small guard with a high driving dunk. I might actually save my small guard builds for just shooting and playmaking, and then make my tall guard builds have the high dunking, so I can save attributes, because if I'm not going to be able to contact dunk consistently and it's going to be 2K25 2.0, I'd rather save those attributes in the builder for my small guard. You know, and it's going to be 2K25 2.0, I'd rather save those attributes in the builder contact dunk consistently, and it's going to be 2K25 2.0, I'd rather save those attributes in the builder for my small guard. It'll have to be something I test out more when the game comes out, but if I had to summarize it in small guard, it'll have to be something I test out more when the game comes out, but if I had to summarize it, if you're making a tall guard, I highly recommend that you up your driving dunk. I genuinely believe it is the easiest thing in the world to dunk meter with high driving dunk on a tall guard build, but if you're making a small guard, we're gonna have to wait and see. Don't worry, I'm gonna test it out day one so y'all don't have to, but I just wanted to give y'all the pro tip now, another thing we gotta talk about with the dunk meter is there's actually a brand new control for it that is so user friendly. If you notice on some of these clips, whenever I try to do the normal way of dunk metering, which is up on the right stick and then down on the right stick really quick, you'll notice that there's like a little bit of a hitch before I go up that interrupts the flow of gameplay. That happened on 2K25 too. I never really liked it. It's like my player's trying to do a hezzy because that is up on the right stick. So what it looks like is he's doing a hezzy into a dunk meter, which wasn't what I intended. But on NBA 2K26, there's a new control where all you have to do is hold down on the right stick and it activates the dunk meter. And just like I highly recommend y'all get used to the quick shot feature, I highly recommend y'all do this method of dunk metering instead. Just hold down on your right stick and time it. And by time it, I mean release the right stick when it's in the window. Way easier than flicking up and down on the right stick. You will never get a hitch or a hezzy. It feels so fluent in game, at least in quick play. Obviously, we haven't tested out online. It might feel different. But by the end of community day, I was only dunk metering by pulling my right stick down and timing it that way. And not only did it feel better, it felt like this is how it's always should have been. So I'm really glad 2K made that change. Hopefully, they'll keep that change in future releases. Now, I feel like I've been yapping about the dunk meter for too long, so we're going to come back to standing dunks later, but do not miss that part because trust me, there is something you need to know about standing dunks. For right now, let's talk about the dribbling. Every year, everybody wants to know about the dribbling because that's what makes or breaks. Talk about the dribbling. Every year, everybody wants to know about the dribbling because that's what makes or breaks a good 2K game, in my opinion. If the dribbling feels super stiff and robotic, it will never be fun because you cannot combo up and you can't get open effectively without everyone using the same 1 or 2 moves to do it. So this year, I'm happy to say a lot of dribble moves looked really good. And y'all don't have to take my word for it. Look at the screen, bro. I'm showing everything that I'm talking about. You can personally see yourself that the dribble moves look fast. 2K did say that the game speed is increased by 10 or 15%, so maybe that's helping to contribute. 2K did say that the game speed is increased. Personally see yourself that the dribble moves look fast. 2K did say that the game speed is increased by 10 or 15%, so maybe that's helping to contribute for the look of it looking way better. But I also feel like the actual dribble moves itself are less stiff and more controlled. For example, the Curry slide on 2K26 kind of feels like the Curry slide on 2K22. If you remember 2K22, it was a super arcade-like game where you could spam a Curry slide, run to the left, spam a Curry slide, run to the right. The Curry slide in NBA 2K26 feels similar to that. And make sure to write this part down because I'm about to put y'all on. The best dribble moves in NBA 2K26 range from least overpowered to most overpowered. The best dribble moves in NBA 2K26 range from least overpowered to most overpowered. Starting off the list, we got Steph Curry step back, a super clean separation move for small guards that'll create that extra bit of space you need for a wide open shot. Kyrie Irving behind the back, a ridiculously fast misdirection move that will catch your defender off guard every single time. Mike Conley step back. Not only will this allow you to create some space and reset your dribble, but it also allows you to speed boost to either side. James Harden and Kevin Durant step back, a great separation speed boost to either side. James Harden and Kevin Durant that step back. A great
Ooh-wee.
separation move for tall guards that seems to have an insanely high rate of ankle breakers. Cheese this while you can, because I can almost guarantee it will be patched first week. Steph Curry dribble style. I don't even need to say anything here, just look at this speed boost. There is no speed boost in the entire game that is better than this. And finally, the most overpowered dribble move in NBA 2K26, Steph Curry behind the back, aka the Curry slide. Shocker, I know, the move that lets you change direction and speed boost to either side is the best move in the game. But yeah, overall, dribbling felt a lot better on 26 than it did on 25. Now, I'm not one of those creators that's gonna go out here and say it's better than 2K16, it's better than 2K19. We're not doing all that. But as long as nothing is changed or patched before the game is dropped, which please 2K do not do that. Just let us have a month changed or 16. It's better than 2K19. We're not doing all that. But as long as nothing is changed.
Great tempo, slightly late. So if you just get the great tempo, that's an automatic green.
Or patched before the game is dropped, which please 2K do not do that. Just let us have a month of the game that we played at Community Day, please, because I can definitively say that the dribbling on 2K26 felt way better than the dribbling on 2K25 as long as nothing is changed. Now, with every positive, there is a negative. There were still what I like to call a lot of dribbling hitches in the animation, meaning sometimes I could speed boost out of certain moves, and other times whenever I used the move and I went to sprint out of them, my player would do like a little hezzy stop before sprinting again. I know y'all know exactly out of them. My player would do like a little hezzy stop before sprinting again. I know y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. It was all over NBA 2K25. It was part of the reason the dribbling wasn't received that well. And that was because most of the dribblings that looked good, you couldn't sprint out of them without your player doing like a weird the dribbling NBA 2K25. It was part of the reason the dribbling wasn't received that well. And that was because most of the dribble moves that looked good, you couldn't sprint out of them without your player doing like a weird hezzy that you didn't input in your controller. I'm hoping that whenever we put our custom animations in and we mix and match our favorite SIGs, that it'll be more fluent. And from what I've seen when I was at the event with the other dribblers, that was exactly the case. People said that it was a lot more fluent whenever you put your actual animations in together. So we'll call this one a small negative because these are just NBA player SIGs at the end of the day. But I did want to mention it just in case you go out there on day one and your player's doing a little bit of a hitch. Maybe you need to change your dribble moves, or maybe that's just how it is. We're gonna have to wait and see on the full game. But I will say, if quick play is any indicator, a lot of the taller builds had good dribble moves. Kevin Durant had good dribble moves. Giannis had good dribble moves. James Harden is 6'6". I don't know if you would call that a taller build, but he had good dribble moves. So I do have a lot of hope that taller builds will actually be viable this year in competitive scenes. Now, enough about dribbling specifically, let's talk about speed boosting. Once again, if you played NBA 2K25, you knew that you had to have Darius Garland dribble style to speed boost, with some small substitutions like DeJounte Murray or other niche options that people found, but for the most part, everybody was using Darius Garland. I really don't believe that is the case anymore, and the reason for that being is we were able to speed boost on multiple players. To put this in perspective, on 2K25's Community Day, we were able to speed boost with like De'Aaron Fox and maybe Curry, and I think that's it, if I remember correctly. This year, you could speed boost with Kyrie, you could speed boost with Curry, you could speed boost with James Harden, you could speed boost with Giannis, you could speed boost with pretty much every player you could think of that should be able to speed boost, and none of it felt super clunky. There wasn't like a weird slowdown after their initial burst. It honestly felt really smooth, and that's why you've seen people on Twitter being like, listen bro, this is gonna be a fun game if nothing changes from Community Day to launch day. Because what we experienced and what you're seeing on the screen, again, you don't have to believe anything I'm saying, you could visibly see what we played, was that speed boosting was actually effective again. Now, I know there's some people that don't like that and they want it to be realistic, so I will say that the defense in NBA 2K26 felt responsive enough to counter these super fast moves. Sadly, I can't go into depth on that until tomorrow, so just take it with a grain of salt, but I will say the best 2Ks in existence are the ones where offense is overpowered and the defense is just as overpowered, so you can match and counter each other until the best team wins. Now, we got 3 more main topics to cover, and then I'm gonna give y'all some overall knowledge of NBA 2K26 for some things that you might be worried about. So for example, rebound timing, wide open layups, layup timing. I know people are worried about those. I'm gonna cover that at the end. But right now, let's talk about the standing dunk meter. Once again, I'm making a prediction right here and now. I think the standing dunk meter is going to be super strong. I'm saying I don't think it's just gonna be viable. I think it's gonna be very good. I wouldn't say overpowered like NBA 2K24, but definitely useful, unlike on NBA 2K25. And if you look at the clips, you can see exactly why I'm saying that. You do the exact K25. And if you look at the clips, you can see exactly why I'm saying that. You do the exact same method that you did on 2K24. You get in the paint, you get your player in the dead zone, and you can either up down to dunk meter, which is what I was doing just because I'm used to it, or you can just hold down on right stick and your player will do a standing dunk. And as you can see in the clips, they are super strong. I'm 95% sure that all of these clips are on Hall of Fame. Maybe one or two might be on All-Star, but I know for a fact the majority are on Hall of Fame. And look how big that green window is. Now granted, I am doing this with tall players who have high strength, so it is how it's supposed to be. And I don't think I mentioned this in the dunk meter section, but I wasn't complaining that smaller guards aren't able to dunk meter. I was just trying to tell y'all so you know, so you don't mess up your first builds. I think that the dunk meter window should be determined on a variable of things. It should start off with your dunk rating, your vertical, and your strength, and then it has to factor in your opponent's strength, their block, their interior defense, what badges they have, how tall is their vertical, how tall is their player, how tall is your player. Realistically, a 6'4" guard should have a tough time dunking on a 7'3" center with max interior defense. That's how the game should be. Now, am I still gonna complain as a 6'4" guard who got taken out of his dunk meter? Of course, I'm a 2K player, but that's how it should be. Anyways, back to the standing dunk meter. There was no time where I just got taken out of my meter or my meter became super shrunk, even when I was dunking on centers who had high interior paint defense. So it really has me thinking, is gold rise up gonna be the sweet spot again like it was in previous years? Especially with the addition of max +2 badges that 2K already confirmed. Just getting that gold rise up threshold, you could technically have legend rise up with a reasonably high standing dunk rating and just absolutely dominate in the paint. Just something to look out for, but if you wanted my opinion, I think standing dunk meters are gonna be extremely strong. And you know what else is gonna be extremely strong? Post scoring. Wow, shocker, grinding. Post scores are gonna be good for the 15th year in a row. Yes, post scoring is super good this year. I couldn't get too many clips showing this off because some of the NBA players post go-to shots are just horrible in quick play. Like genuinely, some of them are laughably bad. Look at this Joel Embiid clip right here, bro. You literally can't do his post go-to shot without getting 3 seconds in the key. The animation itself takes 5 seconds. I've never seen anything like that. But yeah, post taking over people, just getting an easy green. It's super simple, just like it is every single year. And with the addition of max +2s, like we said before, I think it's going to be even stronger. And also, you got to keep in mind that there's going to be 7'4" post scores now. So yeah, that's going to be fun. And by the way, just so you know, I will be dropping a video during the first week of me playing on a 7'4" post score, just to show y'all how strong it really is. So make sure to sub with notifications on if you haven't already. If you made it to this point in the video, you might as well sub and make this your premier channel for news in the future. But yeah, overall consensus, post scoring 10 out of 10 like it is every single year. If you make a post score, you can never go wrong. People think that inside center is the most safe build to make day one of any 2K. No, it is a post score. If you make the tallest possible post score with the most possible strength and the most possible post control and close shot, you will just be stacking up wins like it's nobody's business. Real quick, earlier in the video, I complained that my player would
So I'm gonna show y'all niggas something real quick. I ain't gonna lie. It's looking sad, bro. It's looking sad for us, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Which ball
I'm
hands
not
without
going to
me
no
even
one
touching the
sports.
controller. And guess what? Your player is gonna do that exact same thing too. If the first thing you do isn't going into your controller settings and turning off passive handball switches. This is one thing I really hope 2K changes, because once you do this, your player will no longer switch hands unless you flick your right stick to do so, giving you more control of your player. Don't get me wrong, I love that 2K has a setting for it, because believe it or not, shots, some people do actually prefer that their player switches ball hands for them, but I wish they would change it to where the default is automatically set to off, and then you have to manually turn it on if you actually want your player to switch hands. Because I can't imagine how many people don't even know that this is a thing and are just gonna assume that that is how the dribbling is in NBA 2K26, and there's nothing they can do about it, when in reality there is. So in my opinion, the default setting should be that it's turned off, but who knows, maybe 2K's data on their back end shows that people like it when it's on more than they don't. Just in my opinion, I feel like people want more control of their player over not. Rhythm shooting and shooting in general. We're not going to cover this for too long because it's really pretty simple. I thought rhythm shooting was implemented very well in NBA 2K25. I think it was a very good addition to the game. I think the boost they gave you on NBA 2K25 was a little ridiculous, and also other features of NBA 2K25 made it very hard to shoot with X, so it kind of skewed people's judgment on rhythm shooting. It felt like you had to rhythm shoot. This year there was no noticeable boost for rhythm shooting. It's just if you prefer doing it, and it honestly felt even smoother than 2K25, which was surprising to me. I didn't think they could improve upon it even more. I liked how it was implemented in 25, so the fact that they improved on it more was a nice surprise. And what Mike Wing said more, I liked even smoother than 2K25, which was surprising to me. I didn't think they could improve upon it even more. I liked how it was implemented in 25, so the fact that they improved on it more was a nice surprise. And what Mike Wing said about only having to green your tempo and still being able to make the shot was true, but I only found it to be true on lower difficulty. So if I played on like Pro or All-Star and I only timed one of my timings right, yeah, the shot would go in. But if I did that on Hall of Fame, I never saw it go in with only one timing. So it's going to be interesting to see that if you can still green with only one timing on like the Park, Rec, Pro-Am, Theater, because right now I genuinely don't think it's going to be a thing, and even if it is, it probably happened once in a blue moon. Think of that one shot timing profile in 2K25 where you could like shoot whites and it would still go in. It would happen, but it wouldn't happen too often, you know what I mean? So yeah, other than that, all I gotta say about rhythm shooting and shooting in general is that it felt smooth. Me personally, I don't think I'm gonna be rhythm shooting all that often. I'm just gonna turn my meter off and hold X. And if I ever catch and shoot the ball, you best believe I'm using that quick shot feature we talked about earlier, because man, that is OP. But don't get me started about that again. Let's move on. Now, a couple final things and then we'll go over my overall review of NBA 2K26. Rebound timing is not the big deal that everyone made it on Twitter. Literally, all it is a visual cue of if you timed your rebound correctly. And I'm not gonna lie to you, most of the time whenever I got a rebound, I never greened my rebound. So I don't know if that means I genuinely have room to improve, or I just didn't care enough to green a rebound because I'm gonna get the rebound anyways. I got position. But yeah, greening a rebound did not seem like a big deal at all. I would be very surprised if it genuinely has an impact on gameplay in the Park and Pro-Am and stuff like that. I genuinely think it's just a visual cue that tells you like, hey man, you timed your rebound, good job. Wide open layups. I've seen everybody complaining that you have to time your layup meters no matter what. So let me put your heart at ease right here, bro. If you have a wide open layup, your entire meter is green. I genuinely don't think it's possible for you to miss. And if it is, you have to try to miss it. So don't think you're just gonna be out here missing wide open layups. Now, if you make a build that has a 25 layup and no dunking, then I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Just don't run no fast breaks because your green window might be tiny and then you might miss a wide open layup. But at that point, it's on you. How did you even manage to find a build that has a 25 layup and a 25 driving dunk? That is an elite level of accomplishment that I've never achieved in my life. So hey man, props to you, but honestly, you should not be worried about layups unless you just make the most troll build in existence. Final thoughts about NBA 2K26. If I had to sum it up in one sentence, I would say that NBA 2K26 is what NBA 2K25 should have been. I think that's a very fair assessment. I feel like a lot of things felt the same, but at the same time, a lot of things were improved upon and changed in a good way. One more time, I'm gonna glaze quick shot time, and bro, I'm telling you, I love it. I genuinely love that feature, and I hope it stays in every game. But yeah, yo, overall, I got a pretty positive expectation of what NBA 2K26 should be at launch. I'm hoping that the game meets my expectations and I don't just get my hopes up for no reason. But if y'all want to see my live reactions playing the game on August 29th, make sure to follow my Twitch or sub with notifications onto my YouTube. I will be live for 12 hours in a row on release day playing the game. You'll see all of my live reactions. So if you're somehow still worried that this video was rehearsed or that I'm sitting here lying to you, even though I listed everything that I think is positive and negative, then let me tell you, I can't fake a live reaction. So make sure y'all in those streams. Thank y'all so much for watching. I love you all. I will see you tomorrow for the builder news, my first 3 builds on NBA 2K26. I can't wait for y'all to see them. And as always, keep grinding.
Shit. Y'all heard the man. Y'all niggas excited? Because I kind of am. Just a little bit. But I'm going to catch y'all niggas in the next one. Let's get 2 to 5 likes in this video. Keep grinding like he said.